Black Friday. It's so much more than just a day for shopping. It's a full-on global cultural event, a huge economic engine, and for a while there, it was basically a contact sport. But this whole annual shopping frenzy has a story that's, believe it or not, way darker, stranger, and a lot more complicated than you probably think.
So let's just get right to it. Where did that name, Black Friday, really come from? Because I'm willing to bet the story that most of us have heard, well, it isn't the real one, not even close. Okay, so there are basically three stories making the rounds. The most popular one, the one we all kind of know, is that it's the day retailers finally see their profits go into the black for the year. Then there's this awful and completely false hoax that went viral online about its origins in the slave trade. But the real origin? It's got nothing to do with profits, and it has absolutely nothing to do with that terrible hoax. It's a much grittier story that starts on the streets of Philadelphia. All right, so let's peel back these layers and get to what really happened. Here is the actual truth. We've got to go back to the 1950s to Philadelphia, where the police actually coined the term. Now, why? Well, because the day after Thanksgiving, the city was just completely flooded with massive crowds for the annual Army-Navy football game. And for the cops, it was an absolute nightmare. We're talking 12-hour shifts, traffic jams that were just total gridlock, and shoplifting all over the place. It wasn't a day of profit, it was a day of pure chaos. That's why they called it Black Friday. So you have to wonder, right? How did a piece of grumpy police slang from just one city explode into an international retail holiday? Let's trace that journey. For decades, it was really just a Philly thing. But then, in the 1980s, retailers saw a huge opportunity. They took this negative name and brilliantly spun it into the positive, in the black profit story that we all know today. And it worked. It went national. By 2010, Amazon took the whole idea to the UK. And just 4 years after that, it was a full-blown global event, hitting markets like China. It turned into this unstoppable American export. But as Black Friday got bigger and bigger, well, it also got a lot darker. The competition for deals turned from just kind of spirited to genuinely dangerous, which led to this whole era of what you can really only describe as retail Armageddon. Just get a load of this. Between 2006 and 2018, there were at least 11, I'm going to say it again, 11 reported deaths directly tied to the Black Friday shopping madness in the United States. We're not just talking about big crowds, we're talking about fatal consequences. And on top of the deaths, another 108 injuries were reported in that same period. People were getting pepper sprayed, trampled, assaulted, all of it, just for a bargain. This quote, it just says everything, doesn't it? It came from a witness after a Walmart employee was trampled to death back in 2008. It just cuts right to the heart of the absolute madness that seemed to take over. And some of the specific incidents are just shocking. In 2008, a store employee was killed when a mob of 2,000 shoppers smashed right through the doors. In 2011, shoppers literally stepped over a man who had collapsed and was dying in a Target. That same year, a woman pepper sprayed a crowd just to get an Xbox. And in another incident, a fight between two women in a Toys R Us escalated until their partners pulled out guns and shot each other dead. It's just wild. Now, what's really fascinating is when you look at where all this was happening. I mean, sure, there was chaos at lots of stores, but one retailer was, without a doubt, the epicenter. A staggering 70% of all reported incidents during this period happened at Walmart stores. But then things started to shift. The physical violence began to fade, not because people lost their appetite for deals, but because the battlefield changed. Welcome to the new digital frenzy. And that's the key right there. The chaos didn't disappear, it just migrated. The stampedes and the fistfights were simply replaced by clicks and server crashes. And the scale is just, it's almost hard to wrap your head around. Let this sink in. In 2024, shoppers in the US spent a record-breaking $10.8 billion online. That's billion with a B. All in a single day. Now, if we zoom out to the global picture, it gets even crazier. Worldwide, that number swells to over $74 billion. The thing that was once a local headache for Philly police is now a massive driver of the entire global economy. And this chart right here, this shows the tipping point. In 2024, the number of online shoppers in the US officially became bigger than the number of people who went to physical stores. The digital takeover is complete.
And check this out, nearly 70% of all global purchases happened on a mobile device. The entire shopping experience now fits right in the palm of your hand, which is a far cry from camping outside a store in the freezing cold. So yeah, the frenzy is definitely safer for shoppers now. But this huge shift online has created a whole new set of pressures and a new set of questions about the true cost of these unbelievable deals.
Because for every single discounted TV and every conveniently delivered package, there is a hidden price. The question is, who's paying it?
Well, on the biggest shopping day of the year, thousands of Amazon workers in more than 20 countries, they don't shop, they strike. It's all part of this coordinated global movement called Make Amazon Pay. And they aren't just asking for one thing either. Their demands are pretty comprehensive. They want fair pay for the intense workload, they want respect for their right to join unions, they want the company to pay its fair share of taxes, and they want a real commitment to environmental sustainability. So, it really all boils down to this contrast. On one side, you have the deal. You get incredible discounts, new products, and amazing convenience. But on the other side, you have the cost. Immense strain on workers, a crazy consumer frenzy, and a global protest movement demanding that somebody be held accountable. From the chaotic streets of 1950s Philadelphia to a multi-billion-dollar digital event that sparks global protests, the story of Black Friday is really the story of modern consumer culture itself. So as that last package arrives at your door, we're left with one final question to think about. Was the bargain worth the true cost?